The fall weather, it looks like, is here to stay, but that also means the cold weather is not far off. So it's a good time for us to have Jake Self from Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical here to give us some fall maintenance tips. A busy season for you, right?
Yes, good morning, Julie. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I hope you are.
Yes, thank you.
So I think a lot of us are excited. I'll raise my hand to this category of people. It's fun to watch the cold weather kind of come in and have that cup of coffee and turn the heat on until the heat doesn't come on.
Until the heat doesn't come on. So like before we talked about preventative maintenance, we want to touch on it again today. Before it gets too cold outside, we'd love to come see you and make sure your heating and air system is going to turn on when you're ready for it.
So when you're doing that on the maintenance side of things, for the fall season, does it look different what you do compared to
a little bit different? We're going to spend more time at the indoor portion of your unit than your outdoor possibly, because depending how your system is set up, we have gas furnaces with air conditioners. So obviously there's no reason to spend too much time outside. We need to go look at all the safety switches and make sure the gas valve, it's either a spark ignition or what they call a glow fly ignition for starting your heater this time around. Or if you have an electric furnace, we need to check your electric resistant heat to make sure it's going to turn on safely.
So suppose you come to somebody's house and you diagnose the issue. Depending on what their particular HVAC system looks like, a part's going to have to be ordered potentially. Are those parts in easy supply right now, or is it a trick sometimes?
You know, it is, because what we're seeing more and more, because the government mandated that we get a higher efficiency unit there out on the streets, the older the system is, it may be harder to find the parts because they quit making them. They're just not going to make them anymore, so we're fighting with the rest of the country to see if we can get the last one on the shelf.
And do you know even how you define older?
Let's call it 10 years right now.
Okay.
It's hit or miss. I've had a system that was covered under warranty, but they quit manufacturing the coil.
Right. So. I like the fact that when I asked you that question, you had to think about it for a minute.
Yes.
I mean, you're going to give people an honest assessment when you're out there.
Absolutely.
It's just kind of heartbreaking because when you've put the investment into something like an HVAC system, you're hoping for more than 10 years out of it. And to think it's because you can't get the part, that's frustrating.
Yep, and most manufacturers want to see that you have maintenance records. So
oh, really?
If it comes down to the brass tacks of whether it may not be covered under warranty or not, if you have records showing that you've been doing your maintenance, it may help you save some money there. So
now that's a really good point then, because that's where y'all come in if they'll call you and use you on a regular basis.
For our Happy Hiller Club.
That's right, so talk about that.
So again, we like to come out for the heating and air one time in the spring and one time in the fall and make sure you're ready for that seasonal weather to come through. And we're going to spend somewhere between an hour to 2 hours at your house making sure we're clean, making sure all the safety switches are going to work, and you're ready for that.
So hopefully we'll have a little bit of a mild winter. You know, summers around here, that thermostat war is legendary in the house. Winter, it can be a little bit different, but once again, to maintain the HVAC, do you want to have just kind of one setting at the house and avoid going up and down too much?
Creature comforts, right?
Yeah.
So, but also some people like it cooler, and I mean, it's going to depend on you.
It's a case-by-case basis.
I like it cooler when I go to sleep. Some people want it cooler while they're working around the house because it gets too hot when you're up and around cleaning.
But does it take a toll on the unit if you
do too extreme?
Okay, like 3 degrees?
Yes, I love the 3-degree split.
The 3-degree guarantee.
Yeah.
Okay, what about leaves? Can they get in the unit and be a problem?
Yeah, so when it comes to if you have a heat pump system, if the leaves are gathering up underneath it, and we do end up getting really, really cold like around Christmas last year.
Yeah.
And we have a freeze. So when that unit goes in defrost mode, it's going to shed water out of it. If those leaves are gunked up around it, the ice is going to start building up around the bottom of your outdoor unit. And it could cause a problem where it crushes that bottom coil. Then you have a refrigerant leak, and then we have costly repairs.
Okay.
Keeping debris away from indoors and outdoor units is hugely good.
Does it help you with the work you do at Hiller and the maintaining of the HVAC system to be able to focus obviously on what you've come out to look at, but if the home itself is energy inefficient, are you swimming against the current? If you've got the unit functioning properly, but there are cracks in the doorways and windows that aren't sealed properly, is the system then having to work harder?
Work harder, absolutely. Yeah, I can put a big enough system in to keep it whatever temperature you want. Obviously, we size it per square footage, but if you don't have insulation and your windows are old and, like you said, there's cracks around the door frames, I mean, we're gonna be just throwing dollar bills right out the window.
What was it you brought? Was it last time? And it was something that y'all make?
Our Happy Drain. Make
yeah,
sure our
talk
drains,
about that because we're ahead of Thanksgiving. Talk about that again.
So that's our Happy Drain. It's again, we want to do it on the preventative side. That's not going to or fix a clog, but again, when we're talking about the use of your facilities when all the families come into town, it's nice to have something that we can drop in once a month that's going to go search out issues in your plumbing system or your septic tank and keep everything clear and flowing correctly.
So what I remember, Jake can tell me if I get an A in class or not. So it's this, it's a liquid, isn't it?
Yes,
and
it
you
is a
pour
liquid.
a cup of it into any
Drain.
any drain, once a month.
Once a month.
Once
Yep.
a month, and it lasts you about a year,
Yep.
and it's like $50.
Yep.
I get an
Yep.
A.
You got it.
Okay, so here's where you'll find Jake and his whole team at Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Their main office is there on Lee Highway, but of course their real office is your home, 481-9180, happyhiller.com. You can learn more about the Happy Hiller Club, and hopefully when it does get cold, you'll be nice and toasty.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jake.
Set